GPU prices are absolutely crashing and scalpers are getting completely destroyed. Hi, welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. Buckle up. There are massive changes going on in the GPU market right now. Scalpers are getting absolutely destroyed on eBay, and GPU prices are absolutely continuing to plunge in February and March. If you get value in the video, give it a like. It makes a big difference, especially to this guy right here. And of course, subscribe and click that bell icon. That way you get notified when we release cool content. Let's jump into it. Let's start off taking a look at the massive GPU price crash that's gone on just in the last 30 days. This is from January to February, so we're not even paying attention to what happened in January, which is pretty massive. February was even more massive in terms of a price drop. And the biggest change overall has been that the RTX 3000 series GPUs, which at least in the US, you could not get at retail unless you won Newegg Shuffle or unless you bought them from a scalper. And I'm including Amazon that because it's mostly scalpers on Amazon selling RTX 3000 series cards. That has absolutely changed. You can now get them at most retailers, including Newegg and Micro Center. Let's take a look at the prices at Newegg. These are the most available to everybody in the US because there's only 24 Micro Centers. Wish there were more. You can get an RTX 3090 right now in stock. You don't have to win a shuffle or anything. $2,130. Let's take a look. You want a 3080 Ti? There you go. 3080 Ti is available. $1,550, $1,570. We've got an RTX 3080 for $1,100. That's a massive decrease from the scalper price that we were getting charged for that. You want a 3070 Ti? There you go, $869. Do you want a 3060 Ti? $660. This is a card that was selling for as much as $1,100 not too long ago on the scalper market. $550 for a ROG Strix RTX 3060 card. Again, this is a card that was selling for an insane amount not that long ago. And the list goes on. The only one that's gone up is the 3050, but these are all available at retail right now. Let's take a look at the actual pricing. RTX 3090 has gone down just in the last 30 days, 18%. Now $2,130. The 3080 Ti has gone down 17%. The 3080, I know a lot of you out there are waiting to buy an RTX 3080. It just dropped 32% from its available pricing in January to its available pricing in February. It's now selling for $1,100 instead of $1,613 in the scalper market. So you can see the scalper market is absolutely collapsing right now. These cards are now freely available at retail. Has a lot to do, we'll talk about, with the collapse in the GPU mining demand right now. But 3070 is down 24%, 22% on the 3070, 3060 Ti, 28%. Overall, I think we're mostly looking at anything that's not the 3090 or 3080 Ti, about a 25 to 30% price decrease. For the 3090 and 3080 Ti, it's about 18%. Of course, the AMD graphics cards have come down as well, but they have not been as overpriced historically as the RTX 3000 series cards, so not coming down as quickly. But the 6900 XT, down 18%. The 6800 XT is now down 13%. The list goes on. The two cards that I really want to highlight on the AMD side, although the 6700 XT is down to $783, is the 6600 XT, which is now available for $500. It's come down almost $100 in just a month. And the RX 6600, which is now regularly selling at $430. Here's the 6600 XT. There's now multiple models around $500. Here's the ASRock Challenger one. There's the Asus Dual. And then if we look at the RX 6600, again, several models selling for $430 now. All of them are coming down very, very quickly. There are 2 points I really want to emphasize. The first is the scalper market is absolutely collapsing because they can no longer sell the graphics cards in any kind of serious volume. If you look at the Tom's Hardware article, they note that the volumes of cards sold on eBay are down pretty dramatically. The thing that I want to highlight here is that you can find cards. This is the average eBay price. It's $1,176 of the 6800 XT. The lowest retail I can find of this is $1,220. That means scalpers are selling this card at a loss. At a loss. Similarly, the 6700 XT, it's $783 on eBay. That was the average sale price that I got from Tom's Hardware, the price tracking data. And the lowest retail for this card right now is $799. That means they're selling this card again at a loss. They're just trying to get rid of these cards. Note that when scalpers buy things because they have to pay tax, they have to do a number of other things on it, they typically need to sell these cards at a about 25 to 30% price premium in order to make any kind of profit. They're not only not making a profit, they're actually on some of these cards, they're losing money, and the scalper market overall is absolutely collapsing. I just want to highlight, for instance, the RTX 3060. Now, in the past, there have been, anywhere between 500 to 800 listings at a time. You can see there are currently more than 2,200 listings for these. That's because they are just backing up. Yes, some people are still buying them. I'm not saying nobody's buying them, but the overall price for the RTX 3060 is collapsing on the scalper market. Most of the scalper market is beginning to collapse because you can buy these cards at retail right now for less than you can get them on eBay. So why would anybody go to eBay to buy them? The last point I want to emphasize is that look at this graph. Look at the direction of the prices right now. They are absolutely crumbling in the US market. Again, this is eBay or in-stock retailer, whichever is lower right now. And as you can see, they're all going down. Some of them very substantially, like the RTX 3090, the 3080 Ti, and the 3080, just absolutely nosediving right now. Of course, I know a lot of people will be super excited about this, but Newegg has stopped doing shuffle. That's how in stock all these cards are. If you look here, the last time they did a Newegg shuffle was February 22nd, 2022. I think we're all glad it's gone. Yes. So let's talk about the number one reason that GPU prices are crashing, and that is because profitability of Ethereum GPU mining has absolutely tanked, and especially ahead of proof of stake. Let's quickly go through that. What is Ethereum? It's a cryptocurrency that you can mine with a graphics card, and it constitutes about 95 to 98% of the market capitalization of all the GPU mineable currencies out there. I know some people know Bitcoin, for instance. Bitcoin is mined with an ASIC miner, not a graphics card. Ethereum is really the only one that we need to worry about. Yes, there are some other cryptocurrencies out there you can mine with the graphics cards. They are microscopic compared to Ethereum. So what happened in late 2020 is the price of Ethereum absolutely skyrocketed. It skyrocketed throughout 2021. And this is why, as Ethereum miners started buying up every single graphics card out there, and then they would pay any price for them because these things print money to them, we saw that people started building these huge mining rigs. This is actually within the last week here, 12 RX 580s. You can see tons of RTX 3070s. These are the kind of rigs that they build. And not just small rigs right here. People do this in their house. There are entire warehouses in some countries with just huge amounts of rigs going on right now. I mean, you can just one after the other. And the popularity of GPU mining absolutely skyrocketed. So more and more people were getting involved in it. It seemed like easy money. Everybody and their brother got into it. It's kind of like a classic real estate bubble or any kind of financial bubble. Everybody bought into it. They would buy these graphics cards for whatever they could, and they would mine to get currency. Well, the big problem for them is that the value of Ethereum, especially since November, where it hit its high of $4,800, has absolutely plummeted. Initially, last time we took a look at this before the end of 2021, Ethereum was down to about $4,000 per Ether. Then it was down when we took a look at it in January, it was about $3,300. When we took a look at it in February, it had recovered some of its value, it was about $3,000 or so. Spiked up temporarily, but as you can see at the time of filming, it's at $2,559. It is absolutely cratered in terms of its overall value, losing nearly half of its value. So what has that done for people who mine Ethereum? Well, let's take a quick look at the profitability of GPU mining. And the one that I always look at here is the very one at the top. What is the bellwether? That is the profit per 24 hours of the RTX 3090. Last time we looked at this thing, it was $4.18, and that was about 30 days ago. It's sunk now to $3.23. That is absolutely insane. This was at $10 almost just a couple of months ago. So you can see the profitability of mining on these graphics cards has absolutely cratered. So miners can't really go out and pay these exorbitant rates and think that they're going to get a return on their investment anytime soon. Now, that's not to say that there aren't a lot of people out there who have no connection to reality. This happens in every financial bubble, who they're just trying to get in at the end, and they're going to get basically really soaked financially. That being said, I think a lot of miners, and you see this in articles like this, where a warning to all GPU miners posted in the Ether mining subreddit, it's basically saying, hey guys, the time to mine has gone. You need to start selling your rigs off unless you're in this for the long haul and you don't care about losing money GPU mining if you're like kind of ideologically aligned with this. So that's where Ethereum mining is at right now. The profitability is absolutely cratered. That's why the scalper market is collapsing. And of course, that's not the only thing that Ethereum miners have had to deal with. They've also had to contend with the fact that the difficulty of mining Ethereum, there's a built-in mechanism there so that it can't hyperinflate the currency, has skyrocketed. During the previous boom in 2018, it was at 3,300. We're now just about 113,000. That is insane. That's more than 3 times what it was during the last boom, the last time we had a GPU kind of shortage or shortfall. Now, there are some reasons it's going down right now a little bit. Those are mostly geopolitical. There are a lot of mining farms, for instance, in Russia. There were in Ukraine. There are in other places. There's some geopolitical stuff affecting that right now. Don't really want to get into that, but I do want to plug, of course, if you want to help feed Ukrainian war refugees, I'm going to leave a link down in the video description to a charity that my wife and I support. Strongly ask you to join us in supporting with whatever you can. It's really important time. So that's why right now that a lot of miners have stopped buying graphics cards because they can't make a profit. Well, their other big problem for them is that Ethereum GPU mining itself is coming to an end. It's coming to an end probably around June of 2020. That's the target date, because Ethereum is going through something called the merge, where they're going to move from proof of work, which involves millions of graphics cards, actually tens of millions of graphics cards, mining the currency out there, to something called proof of stake, which is only going to have a handful of computing power. And it's not going to be graphics card either, which is great. All right. Now that was supposed to happen December of last year. They did kick it back 6 months to June 2022. And I had a conversation last month with Tim Byko, who's one of the lead Ethereum developers on this. I asked him, hey, just millions of gamers would like to know when this is going to stop hurting gamers and we're going to see graphics card prices come down. He said, look, it looks like they felt 80% confident at this time in February 15th that this was going to be a for sure thing. Could, of course, go a little past June as the difficulty bomb that goes off does give them some leeway of about a month or two, but they felt pretty strong with it. And I noted just today, the final Ethereum testnet launched, and in terms of it moving from proof to work to proof of stake, that's happening today as I'm filming this. This is the final testnet. I know a lot of miners have been running around telling everybody, oh, it's not going to happen. They're going to delay it. They're going to delay it. If anything, it'll be a month or two. It's not going to be 6 months. It's not going to be a year. This thing is going to happen unless they discover some crazy vulnerability, kind of aliens invade kind of scenario. This is going to happen around June, and it is absolutely going to crater the demand for graphics cards. But more than that, you're going to see an absolute flood of graphics cards. How many used graphics cards are going to hit the market when Ethereum moves to proof of stake sometime around June? Well, I did some calculations based on the overall hashing rate. We did this in December. We went through it. Let's just very quickly go through it again. So basically, there are 930 terahash on the network. That equates to 930,000 gigahash or 930 million megahash. And let's take the hashing power overall of one of the graphics cards, like an RTX 3090, gets about 114 megahash per second. That's the published rate on what to mine. If we assume that it's all just graphics cards out there and there are no ASIC miners, that means it's a purpose-built machine that's not a graphics card that also mines Ethereum, there would be over 8 million RTX 3090s worth of hashing power on the network. Of course, they're not all 3090s. We know that there are a lot of lower power graphics cards. So if we take a look at how many GTX 1660 Supers worth of graphics cards that is, or RX 580s, about the same in terms of their overall hash rate, it's over 30 million cards. And even if we assume something insane that like 50% of the mining power out there is ASICs, which is completely unrealistic, it's far smaller than that. But let's just humor our miner friends out there that are going to tell us it's not that many. It's still 16 million 1660 Supers worth of hashing power on the network out there. So there are tens of millions of graphics cards in GPU mining rigs right now that are going to become essentially, they're not just going to become unprofitable, it's actually going to cost them money to turn that rig on and mine. So most of those folks are going to panic sell their graphics cards off when this happens. Now, they won't all hit at the same time. Some miners will probably try and hold out longer than others, but you're going to see these hit in not that much time, all at a massive discount if you don't mind buying a used mining GPU. So what's going to happen to the graphics card market over the next couple of months? Well, let's take a look at the supply side. And on the supply side, I wish I had better news. It's not terrible news, but it's not as good as we had hoped. Intel was supposed to launch their ARC graphics cards in 2021 and then Q1 2022, and now it's Q2 2022. I would expect most of these to see the light of day, at least in some volume, maybe June of 2022. If we're lucky, it might even be July of 2022. But it's going to come around that period. So we're still several months out from the launch of that. And they're only going to bring about 4 million discrete graphics cards this year. If you add up NVIDIA and AMD's over a 1-year period recently, they launched 41 million. So 10 times as many almost. So it's a small amount, but it's welcome, and it will, of course, help pricing as well, because Intel should be wading into the market at a really aggressive price point. Now, you're going to have to buy in, early adopter issues, all those kinds of things. Other GPU launches are not very interesting in terms of the overall impact on the GPU market. NVIDIA is going to launch a useless 3090 Ti. They'll probably have like 30 to 100 of those cards maybe. It's not going to impact. They're just launching it so they can appear in benchmark charts and they can say that they've got the fastest GPU, although you probably won't be able to buy one. AMD is going to refresh its current lineup. They're going to put a 50 in all of the naming of their graphics cards. They should be slightly faster. They're going to feature faster memory. Those don't roll out until Q2 of 2022, so not really going to impact anything in the near term. And frankly, this shouldn't really impact overall volumes of graphics cards that I can see. Let's play everybody's favorite game. Should you buy now or should you wait? So on the one hand, yes, graphic card prices are at their lowest level they've been in like a year and a half. That's amazing. That's great. And you have to start to ask yourself, how much lower are they really going to go, especially given that component prices, if you want to build a new PC, component prices for everything else are at their historic lows. So it could be the fact that you wait a couple of months and SSD prices hit through the roof. Everything else goes up. And then all of a sudden, that savings that you thought you were going to get on the graphics card, now you're paying more for everything else. That would really suck. So maybe it is time to get in right now, especially at the low end, especially at the budget and the mid-range. At the higher ends, yes, I still think you're going to see savings of hundreds of dollars, maybe in the next couple of months on the top tier graphics cards as everything continues to come down and as the demand from GPU miners completely gets cut off and some of the smart miners start selling off all their graphics cards while they can still get whatever they can get for them right now. Especially if you're open to buying like a used RTX 3080 or 3090, that might be a really good way to grab a tier of graphics card you never thought you could own before when this happens. And that's coming, I'd say June, July-ish, maybe even August. Now, let's add in one more thing into the mix in there, which is that a lot of these this current generation of graphics cards is going to be, it's not going to become obsolete, but they're going to be kind of leapfrogged by the next generation that we know is coming at the end of the year when NVIDIA launches their NVIDIA RTX 4000 cards and AMD launches the RX 7000 series. I've heard rumors that performance is going to be up to double what it currently is. People love this far out to make these wild speculations, but let's say it's 50% more than it is right now. That's a huge jump right now. All these other things enter in, and I feel like we couldn't approach where we go paralysis by analysis. And I think that's part of the new tech environment that we're in, where it used to be Intel would spoon feed us a little bit of progress every couple of years, like 5 or 10%, and we go, oh, that's great. Now we're in an environment where there's huge competition between AMD, NVIDIA, and Intel for performance and price to performance, at least in the CPU space. And I don't know what to tell you anymore because something new is always coming in the next 6 months. That's just always going to be the environment we're in. Whatever you build right now, the day after you build it, there will be an announcement for something cool coming and you'll think, oh, maybe I should have waited. That's just going to be the case. I think you got to pick your spot. So it's really going to be up to you. I know a lot of you have been waiting a long time. I would pick my spot. I would jump in now if I were you. The one thing you can never buy more of is time. Time on this earth. You can never buy more of it. So if you want to build your PC and have fun with it and get rid of this, oh, I'm waiting for a graphics card mentality and just banish it from your brain and put a smile on your face, go for it. If for financial reasons that doesn't make sense for you, then yeah, I think June, July, August is probably going to be the time when you might be able to swoop in and grab something on the used market, maybe even on the new market, but probably the used market. Otherwise, I think if you are waiting, it might make sense to wait to the end of the year. But then even that, are they going to produce enough cards to satisfy the demand for that too, seeing as there's been so much pent-up gamer demand? And I know a lot of people are waiting for that next generation. So you might not be able to buy one of those cards for 4 or 5 months. And then you'll think, oh my gosh, I should have bought, all the way back in March or April of 2022 when graphics card prices were coming down, and I waited too long. So that's the calculus right now. Let's take a look at the best graphics cards available, both new and used, for 1080p, 1440p, and 4K gaming. I've taken a list of 43 different graphics cards here. These are both new and used AMD and NVIDIA graphics cards that still have driver support. We've dumped in their new retail price, if available, and their eBay price. And we've pegged them all in terms of performance to an RX 570 using Tech PowerUp's GPU database. Why an RX 570? Because it's the lowest level graphics card I would want to use in order to build a new build. That way we can get a price to performance. We divide the price by the performance and we get this number here. We can sort them by price to performance. Now, listen, if you're not in the US, these prices aren't going to help you. So I've included a link down to the spreadsheet in the video description. You can just check it out. You can see where every card ranks right now based on price to performance. We're not going to go through all 43 cards, of course. Let's just go through the top 5 for each one. Starting out at 1080p, we've got the GTX 970 and RX 470, both used cards, kind of leading the pack here, as well as the RX 484GB. Now, these cards are all available for about $180 to $220 on eBay right now. Deliver relatively good playable frame rates in 1080p. If you're looking for something new, the RX 6600 is killing it. It's number 5 on the overall chart, and it does really well here as well. Basically, it's double the performance of an RX 570 or more. $430 brand new. If you're looking something kind of in between about the $300, $330 level, a used GTX 1070, still a really good 1080p gaming card. Next up is 1440p gaming. At the lower end, we've got the RX 6600 XT, definitely capable of playing a lot of games in 1440p, though a number of them, more demanding titles, you will have to turn down. We can pull that off for $500 right now at a pretty good price to performance. It's actually number 4 overall of all graphics cards and tops the charts here. I would avoid the next card, GTX 1080 Ti. It's a used card, $560. It's more than the 6600 XT, will give you less performance. And overall, unless that card falls significantly in price, I just go ahead and skip directly to the RTX 3060 Ti for $660 over at Newegg. This is a very capable 1440p gaming card. From here, the next 2 cards, 6700 XT, RTX 3070, they're getting more and more pricey. We can pick up, for about $800 to $900, we can pick up either one of those. They will get more performance though. And of course, 4K gaming. 4K gaming is a big challenge right now because the high end of GPUs are still massively overpriced. That being said, the RTX 3080 with its new $1,100 price, if you can pick up one of the $1,100 RTX 3080s, that's the one to grab right now over anything. Even the RTX 3070 doesn't make as much sense as the 3080. I would definitely grab that one for $1,100. Only reason I think about the 3070 or the 3070 Ti is if you can't scrape together the $1,100 and for some reason you only got $900, that would be the way to go. And then there's 3 AMD cards here that I just feel like they're probably terribly overpriced at this point, and I'd go 3080 all the way. Thank you for joining us on this month's Boost My Build. Remember, if you got value of the video, give it a like. It makes it
boost my build.
Thank you for joining me on this month's GPU update. Let me know in the comments, are you planning to buy a GPU right now? Are you planning to wait? How are you thinking about the GPU market with all the new releases and everything crazy going on? And of course, remember, if you got value of the video, give it a like. It makes a big difference, especially to this guy right here. And of course, subscribe and click the bell icon. That way you get notified when we release cool content. If you're looking for something cool to do, what about an i5-12400 gaming build? Right here, you can check it out. We go through motherboards, we test memory, and the cooler, and more. Check it out. And we'll catch you on the next one.